Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Welcome to part 9 of the Chris Bledsoe series, getting into his spirit apparitions that he believes these things are. Not extraterrestrial in nature. And this, of course, was told to him by the actual intelligence agencies in the military that are controlling him 100%, who have put all their opinions in his head of what this is. So, this is the big problem. They are not making any. They are on their knees, glassy-eyed, looking at movie stars impressed by NASA employees, the worthless liars they are. And, of course, the worthless military people and the worthless government scientists who have not been able to come up with cures, free energy, or anything else. But they certainly come up with large, giant checks that they're paid every month, particularly for things like, let's have weapons of destruction. So they certainly have made some excellent military progress. And the scientists that work for the government certainly have achieved nothing else. They haven't gotten anything else. They haven't researched anything, even to the audacity to say that there is no research methods that are out there, which couldn't be further from the truth. So there's lots of research methods out there. There's lots of parapsychologists that can't pay their bills out there that are willing to work, and organizations, etc. And most of these people are bought very cheaply, but they certainly aren't doing that. They're using a particular research institute that the CIA basically owns, the Monroe Institute, who has been working with governmental agencies for decades, 40, 50, 60 years. Robert Monroe, of course, is dead. And, of course, SRI, I'm sure they're working with them still. Apparently, people like Hal Puthoff and other ones are still involved in intelligence, which they were from the very beginning, as was Russell Targ, all working for military contractors and then doing this extra work, which is all paid for by the CIA and will never get to the public of what really happened. So unfortunately, the filth, the stink, the problems with research that is funded by secret agencies that don't want to help you with anything, that don't want to release anything, including studies that were done 30, 40 years ago that still have not been released, such as the training of dolphins that was done by Patrick Flanagan. All of these things are still kept secret for what particular reason? They use things for the purpose of learning military values of things, not to help society, not to help you and me. If anything, they want to find technologies that they can enslave us with and control us more. And that's what the military is all about. And they don't have any credibility whatsoever. Like everything, I'm sure there's a few good people in the military industrial complex, etc., but they're part of the rotting scum. Only General Stubblebine, who ultimately cost his career, stood up for this and ran into problems with higher ranked people that he got into problems with and eventually retired, have some credibility in my book. And he ultimately set up organizations to get out good information and to make advances in all alternative healing, etc. He's the only military person that I know. He has passed away as of a while ago. He was up there in his age. I don't know exactly what age he died at, but he may have been pushed along. But his wife was a doctor, a medical doctor, and they're still running organizations and have some unique supplements to help people. Other than that, I have no idea. Certainly, Colonel Alexander was a big or very close personal friend, apparently, of General Stubblebine. So I'm not sure what was going on there, how close they were or not, but they both had similar interests. Certainly, Alexander, who thinks he knows so much and is so special, was treated apparently much better than Stubblebine was, who was basically shunned and laughed at and virtually fired by another general when he was at a party and suggested that people try some spoon bending and other things. And this was offensive and thought to be evil by a higher ranking officer that he then had problems with and eventually caused his resignation. This is what you get. So I don't trust anything. Now, these apparitions are very much talked about as the holographic images that are projected. These orbs tend to be dangerous. They seem to be connected with the same cast of characters, including people who are devout Catholics living in a fantasy world of mysticism. One researcher who apparently knew the Pope, she talked about these orbs, and the Pope himself said he was fully aware of these orbs, and this is what hurt St. Francis, who eventually died apparently from some illnesses. I'm not sure if that was the saint he was talking about, but he got too close to the orbs, and this is what killed him. That's good energy. Angels are toxic orbs that if you get too close, kill you. We know they can slice the throat of your dog at a distance. They're just positive, loving angels. They don't heal anybody. Nothing goes on. Of course, if the Vatican's involved with it, you can pretty much guarantee that there's something intrinsically wrong there, particularly since the Vatican has been and always will be controlled by the German Arabs, as the present St. Francis, or the Argentinian Nazi that he is, who took over from the real Nazi that was in before him. So we run into these problems. Again, it's always the same circle. So we have to understand that of what's going on with this. Now, apparently the Pope said that he has to be careful. You'll get sick if you get too close to these. This was told him through this woman who's a devout Catholic and a scientist. So this is the kind of crap we run into. I mean, there's nothing this woman states that we can in any way ultimately believe, because it's all going to come down to, in the end, her warped, fake, unreliable, ignorant belief systems that will cloud her scientific research. So just as regular scientists can't be trusted because they don't want to believe in anything that isn't Bayesian, meaning, did it happen before? If it haven't happened before, it ain't going to happen again. Yeah. Sean Carroll. So the whole idea is that these are all the people that have these kind of nonsense belief systems. But it seems like it goes. So the whole idea of these orbs has been verified by the Pope to the fact, if we can believe it, and I believe it's in this woman's book, that these orbs have been seen and been part of the angelic reality. Now, the bottom line is angels seem to do nothing. If there's going to be, and again, we're living in the same fantasy world that I've heard for, well, I guess it's going on 45, 50 years now, and that we're coming to the new age of Aquarius. And the whole idea is that things are going to change. People are going to wake up one day and say, I love the world. I'm going to no longer jump sewage in the rivers. I'm not going to torture and beat and murder people. I'm not going to work with criminals. I'm no longer going to take my bribes from all the gangs that I've been supporting in my community. I'm not going to do any of that any longer. People are going to, of course, jump up in intelligence. They're going to figure out how to solve all our problems, because after all, there's a moon phase, an astrological phase, that's going to affect 8 billion people of very diverse beliefs, very, very diverse classes, incomes, and cultures that are all going to come together over a Coca-Cola. So the whole idea is that this is the epitome of nonsense that I've heard so many times, and now, of course, it's the same ignorant, buffoonish scum that we've always had. The government, NASA scientists, the scientists in general, the spooky, goofy military guys that are into stuff that the rest of the military laughs at them with. So the whole idea is that these people aren't taken seriously within the military. There's no interest in that whatsoever. And these NASA scientists who portray like they're scientists when they really, I don't know if they're anything more than just actors or government agents. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. So the fact is to make sure that you don't have to come through with showing your technology, your physical technology, your anti-gravity, your free energy machines, for you not to come out with any kind of serious healing, then you're going to make sure that these things are spirits. That's the bottom line, every people. I could go into a million other things that I've seen on the that these people have stated and so forth, but that's really it in a nutshell. The nonsense of what's going on with Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe, not having any money, his son who doesn't have $250 to get a past life hypnotism session done, the fact that he still doesn't have any money, begging for any dime he can get. He's very disjointed. He's now moved himself, Chris Bledsoe, into a small cottage where he can protect himself from people driving up to his house. Well, is that what the entities wanted here? The lady, hey lady. Where did I hear that before? Does he know Jerry Lewis? I think he may be. Hey lady. So the whole idea is that these are the kind of things, not even a name. Now, when you deal with spirits, the first thing you do is you get them to name themselves. Who are you? What are you doing? Never of any of these questions asked. Never did he ask if they were angels, what they were doing. They came to him and say, "You've got to tell the world about what? That you're orbs? What does an orb do? Well, don't get too close to the orb because it'll fry you and kill you." The minimal amount of healing that's been done here as a cover for their, what I believe is basically evil intentions and government nonsense, is valueless. Where is the healing? Give some sort of machine, give a stone, a formula, give something where masses of people can heal themselves to do that. None of that happens. So the healing aspect of this, which people like to name as the fact that this is non-evil because they're healing people, is a ruse. Doesn't mean anything. They're not healing masses of people. They're healing occasional people. The results that he talked about, a woman that had lung cancer, supposedly, which has never been verified. Yes, she said that. There was almost all the cancer was what? Almost? Well, here we are back into horseshoes and hand grenades, which is the only things in life that almost counts with. But the bottom line is that most other things almost doesn't count. If you don't get rid of all the cancer, it comes back. His stories about curing government people again. Well, how nice. They made sure they brought him in. A government official child was having a problem. He went there and supposedly healed them, and someone else and so forth. How nice. I'm glad they healed themselves, but they have no interest in anything else. They refuse to pay him anything, and he's too stupid to demand money. He's a researcher, and he should be on the federal budget to get paid as such, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do the research that he needs to do. Yet they won't do that. Yet they want to get free from him like these government people do all the time. You ever want to test somebody? You ever talk to media or anything else? Come on, baby. How much you paying for me? Get it in writing. It's so important to the government that they need this information that they won't pay for it. Well, why pay for something that you are creating? Your holographic projected images, your little games you played with trees and what's going on, and refusing to heal this guy because you couldn't out of two horrible diseases. Why would you want to pay him because and to get film of something that you're personally creating? This NASA scientist, a Tim Taylor, sounds like something right out of a dime novel, went to him and asked him for medical advice because he supposedly was doing healing stuff. More government cons to ask this bozo to assist in some sort of medical information if he was on the right track is the epitome of stupidity. So here we go yet again, because he's tapped into what? To that lady who does what? Who doesn't say who she is, who doesn't do anything, who doesn't support you to get the word out there. Well, how about giving him a stock tip, honey? Hey, lady, how about a stock tip? How about some cold card cash? How about instead of dripping out worthless odd metals out of these orbs that supposedly are valuable, how about dripping out some gold, honey? How about some gold? How about a couple of pounds of gold so he could scoop this up and take care of it? Never, ever happens. But they're so advanced and they're so angelic and they're helping you all they can as long as they don't do anything physical in terms of healing you or giving you money. Oh, they're wonderful. Now, all the intelligence community have told his entire family that this has nothing to do with physical aliens and that all physical alien stuff is made up, that it's just complete and total lies. This is all just disinformation that's been done by whom and for what reason, intelligently officers? This is why, of course, they don't approach people like me. I wouldn't let them get away with this at all. But if you're dealing with someone as ignorant and as uninformed as Bledsoe and his family, who are more than happy to bend the knee to the criminal people of our world, particularly our government and military, they are just in pig heaven. We got this sucker, man. He works 24/7, is dying of disease. We haven't given him a nickel. Hey, buddy, did you get that deposit I sent you on my new cabin in the woods? Yeah, we got this from all the bull that this guy here didn't do. So the whole idea is that these people are making money off of him, asking him for help and giving him nothing in return. So that means you should get nothing. But his requirements are nothing. He's helping who? With what? And the fact is that some or a few people, which has been undocumented, except, I hear these nonsense curing stories all the time, particularly with the cons of the Spooky 2 out there. We're putting on testimonials of people that don't make any sense. They don't add up to anything. There's no proof of anything. And sure, they're not looking to prove it. Not at all. So this is what we run into time and time again. But every one of these things and all these orbs and stuff and his almost comical pictures of orbs that have faces in them, animal faces, people faces, is almost comical. These look exactly like the fake spirit photos that were taken in the 1890s, where there were actually people's faces in these orbs. Again, this is classic and something that you would expect out of the intelligence community. Once they did their research, they would then do stuff like this and make holograms that could be projected of images inside of them of cute, fuzzy creatures, different people, and some of the photos look like they were almost copied from the 1890 books on apparitions of spirits that came in. Guess what? Little kind of bubbles and orbs and so forth that were presented. Quite fascinating. So all of this adds up to a big, giant fake. And I don't think any of this is real. And it has done some pretty horrible trauma to these people. His oldest son that experienced a lot of this stuff to this day is highly traumatized. I believe he tried to commit suicide. He ran away from home several times. And because he has horrible nightmares. He was tricked by a government, I claim it is, and that is my alleging, that the Discovery team was a team filled with programmed or guided, or if not entirely used by government agents to discredit him. And that's exactly what they did. They did the same to me in these types of interviews they give you, and if they are very skilled at making you look like a fool. So that's exactly happened to him, and of course he didn't get a dime from it, which is how all these people work. They think that you should fall at their feet because they're putting you on TV in some little goofy cable show or whatever. So the whole idea is that all of this seems to me to be a big, giant con. The fact, if there is, and I'm not sure there is, and we would have to have much greater proof than we have that there's some healing going on, well, that doesn't mean anything. There has to be massive healings. There has to be a crowd gathering of 50,000 people that this apparition appears to, and then they're all healed. The only thing we've ever got from these sightings of, quote, Virgin Mary types, which is kind of comical terminology to begin with, is the fact that they have given us prophecies and not much of anything else, that most of it had not come true, and generally have little to no value. So That would have to happen. We would need to have very strong prophecies that could be known to happen in a short period of time. And we would have to have mass healings where thousands of people are healed to prove that these entities can do that. Right now, it's lady and nothing happens whatsoever. He claims you can just go outside and put your face to the sky and scream, "Help me," and that these entities will come and get you and they will help you, they will heal you. So let's have everybody try that. Someone who gets some results from that, who's very ill or dying or has some serious problems, I'll go and see if the little spirit angels out there coming, because they won't help you unless you go out and ask for it. Isn't that interesting as well? I think people are always asking for it, whether it's in prayer or whether they are concentrating on how to solve their life problems. But these angels are too stupid to do that. They're so unconcerned with you. But remember, if something, an orb pops up, keep your distance because it'll fry you. So the whole idea is that these are the type of things that are well known to be the very strange situation that this entire case is. Now, what is this kind of energy? Well, we have to think about if there is some major spirit activity. Well, this is an energy that, as a manifesting scientist, I am very curious in of tapping into. Now, I started out using these kind of energies, and I think I'm going to integrate them back into the entire procedure more. As I said, we have a lot of books, ancient grimoires, which call upon different entities to assist you for money, for health, for you name it. And of course, a lot of these things people look at improperly, but these are certainly classic occult practices. As such, everyone should be using these. These should be able to be integrated now in with higher electronic or scalar machines to draw these energies to you as well. Why not? Why not use this? Do we need to use more primitive ways? I mean, are spirits that stupid? Basically, we should be able to draw a magic circle and just say, "Hey, lady," and we should be able to get the energy we need, cure ourselves, everything else. Yet for 17 years, he got no results. He wasn't cured. Nothing in his family was good. His oldest son is completely traumatized for the rest of his life, and everything that goes with it. So there's certainly nothing there that has shown that in any way that this entity is positive. The fact is that doing a few healings is unimpressive. It has to be done en masse, and it has to be provable that these people had illnesses and it was gone. Not that it's almost gone. You know, the horseshoe hand grenade, ridiculous way of looking at things. We have to know if people are completely cured or not, and we need to have physical evidence of that. Even that can be questioned at certain levels because this is an intelligence game, and they can create these kind of x-rays, tell the doctor what to say and do, write that in his medical files, etc. This is how things are done. Medical doctors in general are 100% controlled by all the criminals out there in general. They do exactly what they're told. They give criminals drugs. They murder people for for the desires of these gangs. They do this all the time, right down to the nurses and everybody else. So this is all part of the reality that's out there. And they're more than happy. The nurses, the operating people are all more than happy to victimize people based on the criminal law enforcement people that they are more than happy to work with. So this is all the problems we run into, and few people know the real backstory of what's going on in life, the real control of the media, the real control of all of the doctors and nurses and everything else, and the average person, your neighbor, etc. These are all things that people refuse to understand. This whole story is a giant, confusing mess that means absolutely nothing and has proved absolutely nothing. But as he said, the good excuse is that we can't give you free energy. We can't give you a healing machine. We can't do anything. We're spirits. We're not physical. Tell the world about what? It's been 17 years and Lady has done nothing. Chris has done nothing. Ryan has done nothing. His wife's done nothing, and the his oldest child is a babbling boob somewhere, probably from the stress he's went through and the trauma he went through, with no help whatsoever. Well, why doesn't the lady heal his oldest son who went through this trauma? Didn't happen. None of it happened, and none of it will. And the government keeps in to find out how stooges like him work and how they're controlled through this black ops. They come in now, they want to measure his brainwaves. 17 years later, this is they do. Hey, man, hey, Manny, are you a brain scientist? Yes, I am. Went to Harvard. Well, don't you think we should measure their brainwaves? It's been 17 years. That never occurred to me, Manny. Good God. So this is the kind of crap that we're supposed, and it makes him important. Oh, the government wants to look at my brain. So they should look up your bottom, because that's where they're going to find your brain, Chrissy. So the whole idea is that this is the kind of nonsense you're running, and this is the kind of incompetent black ops stuff you're going to run into. I don't believe any of this story. It follows the typical government cop-out, and I believe this is all staged. This is all staged so that when this movie comes out, and it's probably going to be a flop because nobody really wants to hear about spirits. They want to hear about E.T. They want to see aliens. They don't want to hear about spirits. Spirits frightens people to a degree, and they're all considered to be demonic. So the whole idea is that people aren't interested in that. He's trying to weave around that this is a UFOs when it's not. Now, he's relatively clear about this, but he weaves in and out of UFOs and spirits and everything else when he talks as well. And of course, as I said, the introduction to his very boring book that's all about me, 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 me. I don't feel good. Daddy has problem. Mommy, kitties. He's not talking about the phenomenon because he's never asking any questions. Who are you? What do you want me to do? You expect me to go on the street maybe with a cup and tell people that drop pennies in it what's going on in the universe because I don't have a dime to do anything with. So this is the kind of ridiculousness that everybody runs into that we have to be very, very careful of. So this entire book, this person, his children, and everything else, this is a big, giant mess. I believe this is 100% of a government op. This is created. All of this stuff is nothing more than a government system. I'm sure they can produce balls of energy. It's not really that difficult. This has been done with Tesla type technologies and so many other things. There's not anything overly shocking about that. And the rest of it is just a smokescreen of nothingness. It's mental masturbation. Little balls of light. It's like watching fireworks. It's the stupidest thing you can possibly do. Color lights in the sky with a boom. But there's something fascinating about it that draws everybody's attention. Frankly, if I never see another fireworks, it'll be too soon for me. It's stupid. These are stupid things like skiing, going down a mountain on slippery boards that you can't control. It's just stupid. So the whole idea is we need to stay all the way away from this and to make sure that these things do not in any way influence us in a bigger level. This guy has no way of figuring out. He's lapping at the feet of NASA and con artist military guys who've never done anything. And he is in awe of it, being a guy that basically hits things with a hammer. And that's his lifestyle. That's where he comes from. And while he's doing that, he's involved in a speaking in tongues, a psychotic spirit possession reality that his particular cult was involved in, that he spent his entire life in. So this is a cult guy. And that's exactly what they were looking for. A very easily manipulated guy who was into the typical hillbilly traditions of God, country, and let's lynch them people that all of these Southerners are involved in. And he certainly fit the bill, and so did everything else. And it was super easy and super fun to control a guy they never paid to, that they are constantly in contact with, giving them free information and not even giving him enough money to survive on. And of course, these wonderful aliens where he was crippled. He spent an entire year, I think it was 2016, he states in his really junky book, which is just all about himself. The entire year he spent in bed. Well, you did a lot of research there. Did the lady help you with that? So I guess you were showing the world everything from your sick bed. As I said, these are the facts. Look it up in the book. I wouldn't recommend anybody buy this book. It's a really bad book. It's boring. There's nothing of interest there. The cast of characters are the same idiots that have been around for 50 years, and it's just pathetic. There's nothing there. And you got to make sure, hey, Chrissy boy, make sure you don't lose your cell phone where you have 1,700 photographs on that can't really be gotten again. Of course, they're all crap pictures anyway. There's nothing I've seen of his photographs that mean anything. I don't know what a ball of light means to me. Did somebody have too much gas next to you? Were you eating at one of them Mexican restaurants and you got too much gas and shot out a big giant Red Bull? So the whole idea is that it means absolutely nothing. So, absolutely nothing. His burning tree, which of course plays into the burning bush reality, I believe that was done by an outsider. Most likely the intelligence agencies came in and did that to easily impress this cult member who's into that talking in tongues stuff. So the whole idea is that this is all part of the, excuse me, the bigger picture of the controlled reality that this guy is in. Totally, completely controlled. This is nothing more than fake. Nothing was paid, nothing was done, and he's as sick as a dog. Reminds me of a radionic guy that said he had the cure for everything, but he was totally ill and couldn't cure much of anything else. But everything cured, every rate works. This is all the kind of stuff. And he's the perfect dupe. And boy, did they dupe him. This is nonsense. And of course, he's got no backbone or spine to tell, lady, how about some gold? How about some help? No, you're supposed to do it all on your own. Is that proving something? Because they want to help the world? This is complete garbage. Well, hopefully everybody's been very informed in here. I think I'm ending my series with this last video. This is complete nonsense. I don't believe anything. When it comes out, if they keep portraying this spiritual nonsense, this film will flop. People want the physical aliens because that's really what counts, and that's right. That is what counts. That has technology, that has physical abilities to do things, not some nebulous Casper, the unfriendly ghost that this whole person portrays to be at. So, I hope everybody's enjoyed. Until next time.